Welcome to I'm Not a Fan Unless I Have a Podcast. I'm John Hanford, and on this episode, I am wearing glasses. Just that's a thing that I just decided I should do. Just because I got new glasses, I got new lenses last week. Like basically, like a week and a half ago, and they're because I was diagnosed with astigmatism. And these have been so fucking hard to adjust to. It's made me question whether the optometrist got the diagnosis right even. So, I decided that the only way that I'll know if these glasses are ultimately wrong for me is if I wear them consistently for, I guess up until 30 days. That's how long I have to go back and get them switched out. So that was the first thing that came to mind. So that's what I talked about. I'm going to be performing stand-up comedy this coming Friday, October 9th in Prescott, Arizona. I believe the show starts at 7 p.m. I'll post an update on Instagram, obviously. And it's going to be at the Espresso Barn, which is a place in Arizona, in Prescott, Arizona. From what I hear, it's a really cool cafe. It's a cool venue. So yeah, I'm excited to do it. And I've never been to Prescott before. I've never driven there, so I'm really excited for that too. So that's going to be fun. Let's see. I think that just about does it for the housekeeping. Obviously, for those of you who follow me on Instagram at GizFanPod, or John Hanford, my personal one, that's I greatly appreciate it. And thank you for everybody who is subscribed to the podcast and everybody who's messaged me asking to come on. I greatly appreciate it. I look forward to all the future conversations that we get to have, and all that shit. It's a good time to be alive. I mean, and that's something that we get into a little bit in this episode. There's a lot of doom and gloom out there, and it's very easy to fall into that. But it's something that it's also something that's real. It exists, and you just got to find a way to balance it out. And so that's why we like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. My guest today is one that you know all too well. This is his third time on the podcast. My buddy Ricky. He's the guy who texted me that just something had happened to Eric, and I, of course, instinctually thought that meant Eric had died. So I forgot to say this on the podcast, so fuck you, Ricky. You gave me a fucking heart attack and ruined my day. But no, this is a really fun episode. I love talking with this guy. There's something else I forgot to tell him, but like I kind of wish that you do stand-up comedy because he's one of the absolute funniest people that I've ever had the pleasure of meeting, sort of. So I absolutely love having him on the podcast, and hope you guys enjoy it. Here's Ricky.
I accidentally clicked the button that said I have a green screen. There we go.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
Yeah, that works.
That works. Okay, cool. All right.
Yeah. And excellent choice of background. That's like my favorite part of the river.
Seriously, me too. I mean, that's my favorite video, I think. But
yeah, I mean, so thanks for coming on the podcast for your third time.
Repeat.
Yeah, our first one yet. But it was just like, you hit me up. You're just like, I've got so many things to talk about. And I'm just like, I'm not going to say no. Like, you've been one of my favorite people to have on.
I figured we have a lot of things to talk about. I think I broke the news to you that Eric quit, right?
Yeah. Well, all he said was, is this Eric thing for real? So, I get this at like 4 a.m, and I'm just like, shit, this sounds like Eric's dead. And
oh no,
that was my first thought.
Oh no.
And I was I was on a camping trip at the time with my dad, So like at the time that you sent that, I like I didn't have any cell reception at all. So like I got it with like the barrage of notifications once we hit the main
Oh,
town for lunch.
yeah.
And I was just like, oh
Ding,
shit.
ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, I was thinking like it was more likely that we wouldn't have a CDC or something like that.
Yeah.
I figured something big in the news would happen, but then this was just like even worse than that. I mean, shit.
Really, everything kind of took the back burner. It's kind of, I was taken aback by it. I think we talked about this on the first time I was on, that I actually have always kind of, as a drummer myself, I've always kind of been anti-two drummer. Like, I really wasn't into it. I was always kind of weary of it.
Oh, really?
Doobie Brothers. I'm like, why do you fucking need two drummers? And then Gizzard was the first band to make me realize that I liked it. I was like, yeah, they're doing it where like I noticed the syncopation and like how there's kind of a stereo flange effect even when they're playing the exact same parts. It's just extra psychedelic, and they really got me to fucking appreciate that shit so well.
Yeah, and I mean, like my first exposure to a band with two drummers was the Melvins, and I thought that was just badass. I mean, like I thought it was a little overdone. I was just like, is this really necessary? But at the same time, it was just like they're fucking playing like 20 minutes through just sludge, and the whole thing is because these two drummers have just locked eyes, and
I get it, and that's see, like I saw the OCs, and I think they're all well and good with two drummers. But it's like they always play like side by. Sometimes they have three drummers. Like the OCs are crazy, but yeah, I've seen them with three drummers.
Really, wow.
I saw them at the chapel in SF a couple years ago. They had three drummers. Like, yeah, they have like sometimes they do a lot. Because he's got a rotating cast of drummers, Dwyer, I think. But,
okay.
He has like the one constant dude, and there's a couple other guys that are interchangeable. I think I've even seen him with one drummer. In fact, Burger Boogaloo, 4 years ago, I saw them with one drummer. That was the first time I'd ever seen the OCs.
Yeah.
But so my whole theory though is like, they're playing side by side, right? And they're just kind of like two cars racing. But like the first time I saw Giz, it was like they were just together, locking eyes, and that was just like that to me. I was like, dude, I get it there. They don't always do that, but when they were, like, I just thought that was so cool. The first time I saw them super spun on acid, it was just like, kind of like I just thinking about it, I'm like, dude, I think I get the two drummers thing, And so now it's kind of crazy. A lot of people have theorized all kinds of things about what's going to happen. With John. And I think, my theory is I think they're just going to stick with, with just cabs. I don't think they need to bring any new blood in. I think that if anything, today I was thinking, if anybody could do it, I bet you Cookie, they might have like him go up there and do some of the parts, like, and there's like the wheel and some songs that have like a lot of crazy syncopated parts. Like maybe they'll just have like a kit, because there's so many people in the band anyway that can bounce around. I mean, Stu plays keys, Andy plays guitar. I think Cookie plays all the drums on the Pipe Ice stuff too, so I don't see why.
No, Cavs actually plays some Pipe Ice.
Does he play the drums on that?
Yeah, yeah, or at least he did for Inside Outside, the last album.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so then maybe my theory is totally debunked. I don't know.
but I mean, it's possible. It wouldn't surprise me at all if if Cookie turned out to be like a halfway decent drummer.
Yeah, I mean, I believe all of them. Like, I'm almost certain all of them can probably decently play most things. You know what I'm saying? Like, I bet you. I think I'd seen Stu play the drums before in some random little video.
Yeah.
Like, I play drums, bass, and guitar. Not very great at bass, but I can hold it down if I need to. So I imagine they're the same kind. I mean, they're all fucking geniuses, so it makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, so something I've been thinking about with regard to like, because King Gizzard has not said whether they're gonna have a second drummer. They have not said either way anything.
And Eric wasn't in the last video, right?
Right. He wasn't in either of the last videos. Like he wasn't in Some of Us, and like I guess they sort of I think they released Some of Us and left Eric out with the idea that like, hey, here's like the precursor
getting you
to the
used
big
to
news.
Not seeing him around in videos.
Yeah,
he's on the song or whatever. So
yeah. But I mean, like I definitely didn't pick up on that. Like when the song title "Some of Us," I didn't even notice that Eric was missing.
It's hard to tell who's who in that video. People look really odd. Everyone's got a beard, and it's just a really weird with a thermal camera or something.
Yeah,
yeah.
I mean, it was a really cool aesthetic that they used for that, and I absolutely love how Straws in the Wind morphs into Some of Us, like at the end.
I think, for me, I was like kind of not sure how I felt about everything, but this feels like the first 3 songs on the album, and like it's like, I mean, I could be wrong, but like it's what it feels like.
I don't think they are, because like because like in the beginning of the Honey music video, like there's some weird stuff going on with like like it sounds like a harp, but it's probably just some kind of synth.
Another song, yeah, it's the
Yeah,
tail end of another song, yeah.
yeah.
You're right. But all I know is that once I heard that, yeah, Straws, it goes into, or is it the way around?
Yeah. It Straws in the Wind goes into Some of Us.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, that really tied it together for me. And I'm like, this is almost kind of like a new, like, what do you call it, the Mind Fuzz suite sort of thing, But like, it's just, like I feel like this is gonna really lend itself to like going into other songs from other albums too, like
yeah.
Going into Muddy Water or something like that at some point, or some other song, in the same.
Well,
kind of
I mean, totally, especially just with the just with all the polyrhythms that they got going on this album, in addition to the microtones. I mean, and did you happen to see the KEXP isolated tracks with Stu talking about Honey?
No.
It just came out like a week ago.
No, I've been moving all week. Yeah,
Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's something to check out. Because Stu was talking about Honey. Like he said that it just came out of one of their Sleep Drifter jams, which makes a lot of sense. And also, like when you listen to the lyrics, they're incredibly derivative of Sleep Drifter. Like it's sort of cool to see. It's just another example of like how Stu will just like basically go perpendicular. Like he'll just go
Meta.
on a tangent.
I mean, it's like a spiritual cousin to Sleep Drifter, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, because like Sleep Drifter is about like, isn't it nice? Like, hey, we can just be asleep together and be all blissful. And then now it's just like, hey, well, we're no longer asleep anymore because like the world's fucking over. But hey, we still love each other. Isn't that nice?
Yeah, Straws, man. They're talking about is it the end, man? And I'm just like, pretty apropos for the time, definitely. Shit is crazy. I also looked up a thing, and what was it? Straws in the Wind is also a silent movie from 1942, a British drama.
Oh.
The synopsis is a benefactor ejects a tramp who covets his wife and later adopts the child of the girl the tramp saved from suicide. 1942. Sounds pretty intense. I don't think it has any. It must be a saying because, like, I mean, I'm not familiar with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not either. I just assumed, Straws in the Wind. He's just talking about like, remember how like a year ago, there was a big ado about plastic straws.
Yeah,
and that's what everybody's focused on, and now that's just like, all right, that's just still blowing around, and and the whole. I mean, like it's interesting. It really lends a hand to, or not lends a hand, but like it shows how critical the guys are when it comes to like actually disseminating information that they're getting like in an extremely toxic news media cycle.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, it's not a political statement. To say that like the media will have it spin and everything, like it always does.
Nihilistic, the whole video, honestly. It's just kind of like a super wacky, and I guess Galea did direct it, and I'm like pretty juiced about that. Like,
yeah, it was great just getting back into that, old theme.
It felt like this Straws feels like super familiar, but also like a totally new thing at the same time to me. Like, I'm definitely like, ooh, like this is like classic Giz, but it's also definitely kind of a new vibe too. Like, I definitely like it, and hey, the return of the UGG boot, thanks to Ambi.
I know, right? I think I'm gonna make that like, I don't know, if there is like a Halloween party that I end up going to, I might just have that be the costume.
You want to know how many? I wonder how many people are gonna rock Uggs to Red Rocks. That's what I want to know.
Oh, yeah, I mean, it'll probably be chilly, so Uggs would be great. Shit.
I know. I might have to get my Ambi Uggs, dude.
Yeah, holy shit.
It took Ambi to make them cool for me, and now I'm okay with
it. Oh, man.
I kid.
Yeah.
I love the video. It's got a total, like, Tim and Eric vibe. It's, like, super, like, just, like, green screen, just, like, I don't know, like, 90s video, like,
Yeah, well, I mean, it's like because like that song sent me into like a depression spiral because like it hit me on such a level that I was just like, this is such a great song and it's so timely. I love it. It's beautiful. But then I'm just like, wait, this is really, really resonating with a large part of how I feel, and like I don't love that that I feel that way.
It's like, I guess it does the same thing for me. It's like a big like question mark on my soul, like getting poked in my soul with a big question mark. It's like, I don't know, it doesn't make me feel one way or the other. It's just some kind of middle like apathetic like zone that is weird. Like,
Yeah,
it's not bad. It makes me feel something, but it's a weird feeling, you know?
well, yeah. I mean, it is a weird feeling for sure. I mean, because like I am so used to apathy because like I used to work an apathetic corporate job in New York, and like that's what that song made me feel like again. I was like, oh shit, like now it's reminding me of all the reasons that I got out of New York, and
Well, I think, good.
No, I have no idea where I was going to go with that.
Well, I was gonna say the groove to that song, I think, which part of it like is like it's really evocative of emotions, because like it's like got these really weird time signatures. It's constantly switching time signatures.
Mm-hmm.
It's super dissonant and microtonal, and it kind of can almost feel claustrophobic, yet at the same time it fucking grooves hard. And you're like, and so I think that's what it is. It's like this weird kind of tedious, like it's all poking at like, and it's like, I don't know, it's something about it is like kind of tense, but at the same time it's also free and grooving. It's kind of like a yin and a yang at the same time, like,
yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the whole song is, I think a lot of this album is very much going to be on that sort of yin and yang vibe, just because, I mean, so something else that Stu mentioned in the KEXP video was that he will he says that like just before he records the lyrics to the songs, the vocal tracks, he'll go in and change the lyrics if he feels that they need to be updated. So he said that's what he did with Honey, and I mean it's and there's another one of those things where like I forgot where I was going with it, but like I now remember, because like talking about this yin and yang thing, like I know during quarantine I've gotten extremely introspective and like really sort of started to like come to terms with like my own darkness, and like just understanding that it is there and it always will be there. It's just part of the human condition. But it's, so that's where you got to like, I guess, be nuanced in how to, I don't know, but so like I have a feeling that this album's going to sort of go with that kind of vibe, just because like that's a lot like what these songs have brought out of me.
So far I like it, but yeah, it sounds like it's going to be a dark album. Like not dark in the way that like Rat's Nest was, but like just it's I think it's more of a statement, and more like you were saying with Honey before, that like that's like the video is a statement. I think that it's it's definitely they're conscious of what's going on in the world, and it's nice to see, but it's like all, like no news is good news. It's just like a lot of it's like I think a lot of people want to bury their head in the sand, and I don't want to hear about all this. I don't want to talk about politics, but it's like, hey man, shit's getting fucking real right now, and like we should be talking about it. There should be a dialogue going on. I'm glad they're saying something, whether it's vague, however vague it may be,
Yeah, I mean, they're always like there's always going to be some sense of vagueness or ambiguity with with all sorts of views. I mean, it's just nothing is as simple as either polar extreme makes it out to be. It's
the opposite of crazy is crazy.
Yeah, it's. I like that.
That's a saying that's been in my pocket for years.
Yeah, I
feel like because I have my dad's very 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 left, like very far left, to where it's like almost conspiracy theories, and it's like like they're not necessarily living reality, and it's like the same on the other side. It's all the way over to their side. It's like if you want to believe in your side so hard that you don't care if it's true or not, you're just gonna. I mean, that's the internet in a nutshell, for one.
Yeah, I mean, and like I know a ton of those people out here in the desert. Like the desert attracts the most extreme personalities, and yeah, it's I mean, it's fitting why I ended up here, but like but like that's kind of how nuts it is. Like I show up here and I'm just like, holy fuck, this is nuts. Like but yeah. So right, we were talking about Eric before, and what their plans are with because like they haven't stated anything with regard to whether there's going to be a new drummer or whether they're just going to be Cavs.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. Like here's my little theory that I've just spun up, entirely independently sourced. It's just me. Like, what if they were to bring in Amy Finley, from Stonefield, Cavs' fiance, and they're just waiting a while to announce it, just because, like, it'll probably take about close to a year to learn all the songs. I mean, and to like get the practicing down.
Oh, yeah.
Like, and even if it's not her, regardless of who it is, if they were to bring in a new drummer, like, it wouldn't be something that they could just haphazardly say, hey, here, we're going to be rolling with this guy without, like, there's got to be some kind of litmus test.
I think it's going to be really, really hard to bring someone else, some new blood into the band. But I think a lot of people are screaming right now, or a few people are screaming at their phone or their computer right now, saying, no, but fucking, what about all the syncopated double drum parts? And like, I don't know, backing tracks. I think it's going to be. I just think that a lot of fans would be pretty rubbed the wrong way by it. Not that it's their choice or anything, but I think a lot of fans would be pretty shitty. Like, they'd be pretty shitty about having a new person that say they didn't know who they were, or just I don't know. I think that people would just be like, leave it, Because initially Eric was barely playing the drums, right? I mean, one might argue that Cavs writes all the parts anyway, and Eric just learns them, But like, but having two physical drummers is a thing, and it does make a difference when that's actually happening on stage.
Yeah, and I mean, like, because they do create, or they did create a really strong energy, like that. We were talking about, like, you feel it. It's different from
the first two drummer band I was into. All right, like, they got me hooked. And I'm like, oh, what? Now you're not gonna be two drummers anymore? So yeah, I see the dilemma. It's a real Sophie's choice here. Like, I don't know how I feel, like, because, like, part of me is like, you know what, I'm totally fine with just Cavs being the only drummer, and I also do feel between the band members, there's somebody in there who could probably play they could have an extra kid on stage and someone could run over there. There's no shortage of people to play guitars or keys in that band. Yeah, Ambi's often just standing around.
Yeah, and playing percussion, like, he can keep rhythm. He's
yeah, I mean, it might be Ambi, who knows, but I'm like, he's got plenty of idle time as it is. So,
yeah, you got a point. That would be fucking fascinating.
They're all on some level multi-instrumentalists, I mean,
yeah.
Joey plays all the bass lines, so, or most of them anyway.
I mean, they have, you're right. I mean, they have an incredibly high aptitude for learning new things. I mean, just seeing how far they've come from 12 bar to, with all the complex shit they're doing now, like it's all a very organic development that was just, like, they wanted to just learn more shit, like, fucking did it.
They're just an example of just, like, playing all the time. Like, I mean, that's how good you get when you have an aptitude and you just always play, and then you're just constantly touring and just always playing. And that's like you were talking about the Honey out of Sleep Drifter, like, and their music's meta like that. And that's what I love about it. We're like, you can say some bands, like, certain pop punk bands, like, yeah, all their songs sound the same, or certain ska bands, all their songs sound the same, or metal bands, or whatever you want to say. Mm-hmm. But, like, there's just more of a thread that runs through their music. It's like definitely like a, there's certain bands that you hear, like Cake, and you're like, oh, this is a Cake song. Like, just the production of it, like the drum sound, like, oh, there's a trumpet randomly. Like, that band by just hearing them. And Giz is one of those rare bands that has that. Like, we're like, I think this is a King Gizzard song. Oh yeah, there was the guitar thingy, and then there was the woo. Like, yeah, they have an aesthetic, they have a sound, and so I appreciate that without being repetitive. Like, I mean, even on, like, Mind Fuzz, like, yeah, it's the same bass line, but it's literally 5 different songs. Get out of here, like, that shit's incredibly creative and good. That's like classical music on a level,
Well, I mean, totally. And what's absolutely nuts is how you don't need a whole bunch of different chords to make a great song. Like, I was on LSD a few weeks ago, and I threw on the Meat Puppets record, Up on the Sun, which is a fantastic album. Everybody should check it out. But there's a song on it called Away, and it's literally just 2 chords the entire song. it's just two chords played, you know, in like different rhythms, and and that's it. And it's like a great psychedelic song. Like it's still, you know, it's still like intriguing, and you know, it makes you want to keep listening. But
fucking Tomorrow Never Knows, you know, is
yeah,
one fucking note. It's one key, you know. I mean, like, I think Road to Nowhere, or We're on a Road to Nowhere by Talking Heads. Like, I think the verse is just two chords up and back, and there's like one change to that song, but it's just like just up and back two chords. And yeah, I mean, that's music, man. I mean, like, it's like it doesn't have to be that complicated, you know. That's where I feel like some progressive music, and like I would consider Gizzard progressive because they can get pretty crazy with it. I mean, especially time signature wise and just part by, you know, they'll write songs that just have like a thing that happens once in the song, you know. It's like one bar of something that happens and then they go back and never speak of it again, you know. And so
yeah.
and that's highly high, that's high level, you know, that's high stuff. But like I think there's also a thing to say where like, you know, doing less is more, and they can do that, you know. Like if you know everything, you can do less is more, and they do. And that's like, you can break the rules if you know the rudiments, and they absolutely do, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, so there's another thing that that I've picked up on that Stu does a lot just in his composing, and it's hard to explain because like I don't know if there's a technical term for it, but like, have you noticed how like he'll play like one riff for a while, and then he'll play what seems to be like the opposite of it, you know, like yeah, exactly. He's playing like the inverse of it, you know, in a way, you know. So like he did that with, yeah, I mean, just like in the Mindfuzz suite, you know, and then like even in the like different breakdowns in Crumbling Castle, like it's, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that just flows very naturally, and it's all a very predictable pattern, but it's still intriguing anyway. Like,
yeah, absolutely. No, yeah. I mean, that's what I love about him. Like. And it's like I feel like that's that kind of stuff too. You can really like go back to it and still kind of keep getting. There's like a lot of replay value for like what you're hearing, you know. Like especially if you're trying to learn anything on guitar, you're gonna go back and rewind it like a million times and go, wait, oh, he does one fucking different note on that time, you know. And it's like that's the sort of stuff. If you're really listening, you're gonna notice all like the just because they're, you know, they're right. It's not on accident, you know. It's like actually purposefully written, so, you know. And then like that's the beauty of it, you know, because you can just on the surface be like, oh, that's a rockin' song, that's pretty fucking cool, like fucking actually listen, you know. And I think that's what we talked about in the past and on a previous episode about seeing them live, and, you know, seeing a song that you didn't necessarily love or you skipped occasionally, seeing it live will almost always like bring it in perspective for you, and you like the mix is different, the energy's different, you're like, oh fuck, now I get what they're doing there, you know. That's happened a few times for me. Like songs that I was like, I didn't really love this song on the album, but god damn, I can't stop moving right now, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's exactly how I felt when they played the Horology Suite in LA last year. Because you know, like obviously I love listening to Polygon Dwanaland, but you know, especially like when I'm listening to it on Spotify, the mix it's not the best, you know. Like it's hard to distinguish a lot of different
it's a free album. What do you expect?
Right. You know,
I'm just kidding, man.
No, but you know, it's like when you actually see all those different polyrhythms played live, and like you see exactly how they're layered over each other and how like it all combines. It's just like it blew my fucking mind.
Dude, Fourth Color live fucking blows my tits off, dude. That's fucking shit. Me, I think there's a really good version on KXP. I think there's one there. Yeah. Good. I mean, that's you know, admittedly, that's one of my most ignored albums, and I don't know for what reason. Like, I mean, I think when I first listened to it, I was like, obviously Rattlesnake, and then I went through it, and I'm like, there's other albums I immediately gravitated towards more, like Mindfuzz. And it's, you know, I think a lot of people say it's like if you're a Tool fan, you're really gonna like Poly. You know, like it's like definitely like that ilk of like the people, you know, like it's, you can see it like all the like the fans who are like ex, you know, Tool guys or ex Dead guys or ex whatever punk, and like, and then all of a sudden Giz is their new thing. But like everyone kind of gravitates for an album, I think, depending on like what your prior like, you know, obsessions were. And like I definitely know, like, I have a friend who was like really into Tool when I played that album, and he was just like, holy shit, this band rocks. And then like totally opened him up to the rest of it because he loves Tool, and he's just like, okay, that was his entry point, and then everything else, you know, it just rocked his world, you know. So it's
for sure. And like Polygon Dwanaland, that album was, it's not the easiest to digest initially. I mean, because like that was my first Giz album, And like I basically forced myself to listen to it all the way through because I was like, there's a lot going on here. Like it's going to take a while for me to really unpack this.
Yeah.
And then, it like gets into the whole fantasy element of like, I guess Polygon Wonderland's what happens after the world ends. It's like the new one.
Yeah.
So like that's a little weird. I wasn't used to hearing my favorite bands sing about fantasy and stuff like that. But it was just like, but then, like once I got into the rest of their discography and like I saw they've got all these, overarching themes and everything and how like it all plays into a much bigger, Gizverse. I was just like,
yeah.
that I was like, okay, this is a fucking genius album.
Yeah. No, I mean, like, I was like, I think it was, Mirror of the Universe. I was like, this is like a 2-act rock opera, like I just like,
or I guess 3 acts technically. It's
3 acts, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty incredible. I'm like, and that's not necessarily what I, gravitate towards it. I'm like, and they don't do that every album necessarily. I mean, I think there's always, like I said, there's a thread musically. And then there is like a a thinner thread of like just the Gizverse, and then I think there's usually something specific to an album. Like Fishing for Fishies had a theme, but not necessarily was like interlaced, continuous thing.
Yeah, I mean, because like it
for sure,
but I was gonna touch on that exact point. It's just like they don't have any like sweet official suites of songs from Fishies, and I think that might be one reason that I haven't totally gotten into that album, or like why that isn't one of my favorite albums.
It almost looks like Gumboots a little bit in that way, that it's like they're like although it's a little more connected, but then I mean we have Cy Boogie, we have Boogeyman Sam, like there's a lot of variation in that album. I think there's as much variety in that album as there was in Gumboots. So I definitely think like for all intents and purposes, if they come out with 3 this year, that's their Gumboots this year for sure. The closest one where it's like a random assemblage, but it's got some of my favorite new songs of theirs on it. Like I think you were saying you didn't like Birdsong till you saw it live.
Yeah.
I like This Thing a lot. I mean, oh god, I was just rewatching This Thing on Chunky Shrapnel recently. I'm just watching that. God damn, it's so good. Joey's the man. He's my boy.
Yeah, I mean, Joey's like he blows my mind every time because like he's just such an unassuming looking guy,
total goofball,
complete goof, and like musical genius. Like I think he writes some of the, I don't know, he writes to some of the most invoking, like thought-provoking lyrics. Provocative lyrics. That's what I was talking about.
Too.
Was that?
Has a really good pop sensibility too.
Yeah.
I think we had said in the past he's definitely the McCartney to Stu's Lennon. This Thing's such a catchy, beautiful song. Fucking Work This Time is just a brings down the house. I really, and I like that they just sprinkle him in. Like he doesn't ask for a lot. I think he gets as many songs as George Harrison got, but he's technically the McCartney of the group. So.
Yeah. Well, and like, I guess that is a good point. I always thought that, like, I've always thought of, Joey as being like Stu's right-hand man all the time, but it's just like, no, he's got like a credit on maybe a quarter of the songs.
I think just Stu's just a fucking, just prolific. The guy is just constantly he's probably always got a guitar in his hand. He's probably just always playing,
Sure. Well, I mean, like he recorded the guitar tracks on Honey on his iPhone. That's
wow.
And like he was, I'm not gonna ruin the video for you, but definitely you're gonna want to watch this KEXP isolated tracks, and anybody listening, obviously, if you haven't listened to it.
As soon as we hang up here, I'm going right to that.
Yeah, I mean, like I was about to say, like if you haven't yet listened to or watched the KEXP isolated tracks, you've either been living under a rock or moving. So
I was just on YouTube early and it didn't come up for me. It should have came up. Damn it, algorithm is failing me.
I mean, after watching The Social Dilemma, like I'm relieved whenever I find that the algorithms failed me. Like every time I get marketed an item that applies to me, not at all. I'm just like, yes, I beat it.
No, I was shopping for a mixer and like just ads kept coming up. I was like, what the hell? And it's not like anywhere I'd actually want to shop at. It was just, yeah, I hate that. I do hate that. And I've had it where like I literally was thinking about something when the ad came up. I was like, come on. Like,
yeah, I got like I get emails every day from like an old person dating website, and like I'm just like I don't know what I'm googling that's like making them, think I'm like their target audience, or like it was just because like I watched too much MILF porn, but
yep.
like it's
probably
but I mean like because like I like I'm joking, but it's just like where. Like why? like
hey, I've had that. I think it's funny when you get just a totally weird targeted ad. You're like, how does this apply to me? Like, yeah, I've had that too, where it's like, I don't ride a motorcycle. I've never looked for anything about a motorcycle. Why am I getting motorcycle ads? Like,
yeah, it's wild. It's scary, but it's I don't know. But yeah. Well, so I mean. Let's see. So I guess when we last talked, that was before Some of Us came out. We haven't quite gotten into Some of Us as a song to unpack. That one's like that is not the track that you should show a brand new person, introducing them to Giz, because it's like there's a lot going on there. What were your thoughts?
Well, I actually just watched your last episode, and that was with the cookie dog girl, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I heard you guys I caught that part of the conversation. I didn't realize Cookie wrote the song, or at least lyrics.
Yeah, he wrote the lyrics, and I mean he might have written the instrumentation as well, or at least in some parts.
When I think about it, we were just talking about how Straws in the Wind kind of has like a tense, like I think that's even more so in that vein of like it grooves, but it's also like like it's kind of like it's not like annoying. It just makes you feel something that like maybe is like slightly uncomfortable, but they think it also makes you feel good at the same time, so it kind of evens out. It's kind of a wash emotionally. I feel like the vibe, and I think that's not on accident. It's just kind of like. It's very psychedelic, like it's dark psychedelia, but it's definitely psychedelic,
Yeah.
It's dark, but I mean, I also think it grooves, and I think having those two songs together, for me, really completes the puzzle. Like that, even like there's more of a resolution there. I feel like,
oh, for sure. I mean, it's such a natural progression of subject matter, because it's just like everything turns into dust.
And even more so, I feel like it speaks to how they're not a singles band, Like,
yeah,
they can release singles, but like, I think that's why a lot of people, I don't know how I feel about this, but like, put it in context to the rest of the album, which is pretty much how I like to enjoy this band. I don't typically put, like, I have a few playlists where I'll put like, a couple, accessible Giz songs like for work or something when I'm playing music at work, but I mean, when I'm listening to Giz, I'm listening to Giz, it feels like, I don't even really like to play the albums on random too much, like sometimes, depends, I guess. But, when I'm listening to them, I want to listen to them. I feel like there's something in listening to them all the way through because they, that's the way they intended you to listen to it,
yeah.
Unless they didn't, They Might Be Giants album that has like 20, like 5 to like 10-second tracks on it, and they actually suggest you put it on random because there's like a handful of 3-minute songs, but then there's a bunch of like 5-minute or 5-second songs and 10-second songs, and so when you're listening to the album on random, it's like all like crazy. But until they actually give us express direction to put it on random, I like listening to it as one whole piece.
Yeah, I mean, I have listened to Giz on random before, and it's not a great experience. It's
bad editing, it's not great sounding.
Yeah, I mean, I will say though, I have successfully reordered the tracks on Flying My Total Banana, and I've been able to play that album in a way that like where the tracks will play off each other even if they're out of order.
You put them together, the ones that go into each other.
Yeah, or because like what I was doing, like when I was and I don't recommend this to anybody at home, but like when I was driving, I would just like I'd be listening to one random song on the album, and then I was just sort of like think ahead, like after listening to the groove of the song, I'd be like, all right, which song should come next? And then I would like, look down and scroll through. And I mean, like, I don't text and drive, but I do like make impromptu playlists and drive. So, I'm not any better or worse.
Yeah, you're curating your own playlist. I get it.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that's like it's just fun to do,
Yeah.
Especially like when you're just taking long drives that are just cow country, and you're just God. I saw so many. This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Like I was driving up California, going to Seattle for the earlier this summer, and like I guess like in central or like north central California, there are a whole bunch of banners on the side of Highway 99 for Devin Nunes's podcast. It's the funny, like apparently he has a podcast, and like his slogan is just like where you get the facts. And I'm just like, you got to be shitting me. Like I've never seen like a podcast being advertised in any rural town. And like, could you imagine me like making a banner ad for this shit? Like,
oh my God, they'd call the cops.
I know. Just like the fans are on the loose. you gotta reel this in.
Hippies are talking about God knows what, King Lizard and the Wizard Gizzard.
Yeah. and real world events at the same time. This can't. Yes. How can this exist?
We're all communists. That's what they think.
I mean, hey, this is. I mean, whatever. Pirate radio has always fascinated me. Just that concept of.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's funny to think of it as a thing actually now, and it was like, like now you can just be on the internet and do whatever you want. But there was a time when that was like illegal and like,
yeah.
Be a pirate radio station, There was a lot here in Oakland for years. Like, I don't know of any now. I think there might still be one.
Yeah, just for old time's sake. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense why there would be. But yeah. So one other thing I wanted to talk about, since we were talking about the two drummers and like how there's a lot of syncopated tracks that like make two drummers, necessary.
Yeah.
Have you listened to the new OC's album?
I've heard a couple tracks off of it.
Yeah.
I think I saw their latest video. That's what I saw.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't checked out the video yet. And like we've touched on this before, but like I've never really gotten like balls to the wall in to the OCs. I like them, but like they're not Giz,
Yeah. I mean, that's my whole thing is like, and they're, they are a huge direct influence on Giz for sure. But I think that, in my opinion, Giz, ran with it, and and they're themselves. Like they're like, I think there's a lot of similarities, but there's enough difference, in what they do. Dwyer doesn't do jazz. They don't do straight up blast beat metal like they did, like Rat's Nest. So, I mean, it's apples and oranges at the end of the day for me. I've gotten into arguments with a lot of people who are hardcore OCs fans, my wife included. But,
yeah.
I definitely just, I like them. They're fine. I've seen them as many times as I wish I'd seen Giz. Let's put it that way. Because they play San Francisco a lot, and like my wife loves them, and so we go anytime they're in town. At least once a year, twice a year,
Yeah, well, let's see. Didn't they recorded a video up here in the desert in Pioneer Town?
I just saw that one. That was like outdoors, like they're wearing masks and shit, right? Like, or
probably. I mean, I'm just pissed that
he has a beard in the video, right?
Yeah. I'm just pissed that I didn't know that was going on, because like I'm 20 minutes away. Like it would have been cool just to drive up there and just listen from afar.
Totally. I mean, that's a bummer, but that, and there's another video. It's like it's a kind of a long song of theirs. It's like a big cinematic video. I was tripping at the time when I saw it, but it was good. It was pretty cool. Nice. But like something about the OCs just doesn't really do it for me. Like like no disrespect. They just like you said, they're not Giz. It's like it's Pepsi and Coke for me, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, like I decidedly do not like Pepsi. Coke is all right, because like I don't love how, because like Pepsi is noticeably sweeter than Coke.
Oh, it's
and like
hotter and sweeter, and I don't care for it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like, I don't even drink soda anymore, but like occasionally I'll get a Mexican Coke because those
Yeah.
are delicious.
If I'm having a super burrito, I'm gonna have a Coke with it. Like water doesn't do it. Like it's the salt versus like they call it the bliss point. Actually, it's like fat versus salt versus sugar, and like that's what fast food is. And
Yeah.
although I will say, on a total side note, that we're talking about soda, you ever had like a Coke with like Taco Bell or like a Pepsi with McDonald's? Like like the wrong soda with the wrong like
Oh God.
it doesn't work. It's seriously, I think that they spend time in the lab like making sure that the flavors go together because like it's weird. I've done it. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
Like I had
mean,
Pepsi at home, but went and got McDonald's, and I was like, yeah, it's good enough, right? No, don't do it.
good God. Yeah. I mean, I've sworn off fast food anyway, but
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not going back to that. But like college did a number on me. I mean, it was just like Wendy's, Five Guys, and I mean, just a lot of Popeyes. It was yeah, not the healthiest time of my life.
Never.
But yeah, but like I bring up the OCs album because like there's a lot of that like dual drumming that like really keeps the album going. And so like that's the only OCs album that I haven't like I've never gotten like really into an OCs album before.
Mm-hmm.
And this one just kind of did that for me.
Yeah. I will say that his I don't know if you're aware of his side project, Damaged Bug.
No, I'm not.
Like it's like John Dwyer's like laptop project. It's just like he like it sounds like he samples drums from the OCs and like does like synth stuff. I actually like that a bit more than the OCs actually.
Really?
Yeah, check out Damaged Bug. It's pretty cool actually. It's that actually is like the closest thing like say maybe like micro or what do you call Dream Balloon, something like that, where it's a little more lo-fi and kind of like just sparse. It's more electronic, but like sampling himself, I think, playing the drums and guitar and synths and stuff. It's pretty cool. Damaged Bug. I suggest it. Like I personally like it better than the OCs. Seeing them live for sure, they got a lot of energy, but I don't know. I it's probably just a personal issue for me.
Yeah, I mean, like John Dwyer fascinates the hell out of me. Because like it's just interesting. Like you usually don't see like I wouldn't normally associate like such a masculine looking guy with like psych music.
Mm-hmm.
But
I will say that I met him. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say like he's got such a like an interesting like sort of introspective thing going on with the sounds that he chooses to put out. Like
it reminds me of a bit of Josh Homme from Queens of the Stone Age.
Mm-hmm.
I have met Dwyer a few times, and I will say at least twice he was not so cool.
Oh, word.
Like just a little dismissive, a little kind of like rock starry a little bit. Like, I don't know, very dismissive. I don't know. Because I am in no way fawning over the dude, but my interaction with him was a little, I don't know. He seemed a little big for his britches. So, I don't know. He's been around for a while. I don't know. Maybe he deserves it. I don't know. But I will say that I've never met the boys in Giz, but everyone I know who's ever met them has been like, they're absolutely amazing and fun and just loving and nice. And I will say that's the difference with Dwyer. I didn't feel the love at all. He seemed very disinterested in talking to me because he like basically my wife said hi to him real quick and I was like talked to him for like half a second. He's like, eh. Like it was just kind of like not even polite. It was just kind of like he just totally big leagued me. So I don't know. I didn't take it personal, but whatevs.
Yeah, it's shitty when those things happen because it's like there is a chance that it might have just been like a circumstantial thing or just
he was talking to some tech dude like the show. There was like a lot of like it's in San Francisco, so there like was a lot of like North Face sweater vests.
Man, they're probably just talking all about microdosing and
yeah, exactly. Sure.
Yeah,
but it was just I don't know. I've had 2 interactions that were just kind of like just trying to be nice, like hey, what's up, man? Good show, just kind of like whatever, like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't want to dwell on that. I don't want to besmirch his name, but like I will say that it seems to me that people's interactions with Giz are a lot more positive.
Yeah, I've only heard of like one like not great interaction with the guys, and that was just because it was like an inside joke that didn't land. and that's okay. That happens.
Yeah.
You know.
We almost got to at the SVN show or whatever in San Francisco this last time around. On the last night, I was there with a group of friends, and we all had, we had Molly and Elle and just all kinds of shit, and like, so we were talking. Some random guy was outside on the phone. He's like, "Oh, my friend's backstage with them or whatever," and like, I don't know if it was real, but he was like, "We're like, we want to give them some acid so bad. Can you get us back there?" And he's like, "Dude, my friend's back there. Let me see." And so he like called them, and it sounded like they were like, "Nah, dude, we gotta go." Like they were not sticking around, But like we waited for like 20 minutes, like trying to like get word. He kept going back and forth. It seemed like we were gonna go backstage, but we didn't get to. It was a bummer.
Ah, damn. That was with Giz.
That was Giz this last time in this last year in San Francisco, which I guess we used to be the Fillmore East or West. But it's SVN now or whatever. But yeah, we were hanging out at the end of the show. We almost got in. This guy was like, "I swear my buddy's up there." Like he was total like, again, it was like, tech money promoter. They're like, that's the thing about San Francisco shows these days. Like I like stuff in Oakland better. The vibe is way cooler. In San Francisco, there's just so much like tech money and guys who are there who don't even care about being there. And that's what pisses me off when I see like, maybe like a fairly large chunk of people there who like could care less and are just on their phone the whole time like this. And I like, that shit is annoying to me. Like, I mean, I think the first time I saw MGMT, there was some people there who were just like the whole time on their phone. Like just I was like, did somebody give you tickets? Like, why are you here? I was like so like annoyed by it. Look on the stage, fucking art is happening. Fucking pay attention, Well,
and that's the thing too. Like with Giz, it's such an interactive experience. It is like the Grateful Dead in that respect. Maybe not to the same degree. Because like
I see parallels every goddamn day, man.
But yeah, I mean, they're overall it's pretty damn close, and it's just like you're on your phone, and like it's rude to the performers, frankly, because it's just like,
and the audience,
and the audience, of course, but it's like I'm just thinking like every time that the King Giz shows up somewhere, they're legitimately happy to be there and like thankful that they are. But yeah, I mean, so it's so like I see it as it's basically it's disrespectful to everybody, but yeah, that is a troubling trend with the with like tech bros showing up too much to
like, there's probably like 20-30 Giz fans who really deserve to be there, and you're just there because you heard that this band was cool and they released 5 albums one year, like they don't know anything.
You didn't even hear shit, you just saw the name and like which I guess like that's how you found him, but
well, at least my friend had seen videos on KEXP, so they seem pretty good.
Okay.
Like he had actually seen them. He didn't literally just go, "The band sounds funny." Like he actually listened to them and was like, "They seem like they might be good."
Yeah. Well, that makes more sense. But I just hope that like Eric and actually not Eric anymore, but whoever else decides to manage the band or whatever, I just hope that they don't get like infiltrated by big tech, just because they're like, it seems like a thing that would be so likely to happen under normal circumstances unless they were to like be smart and like keep their guard up, because like,
well, I mean, I will say that is a secret fear I have. I mean, I think just because of me being out there in the city and seeing all this, like all these people around them, and it's not like sleazy Hollywood execs now, it's like fucking tech people, because they probably have more money than fucking Hollywood,
well,
all I know is that like that's my biggest secret fear, is that management changes something about what they're doing. I mean, I don't think it'll go that way. I think they really stick to their guns. Like I said, in the past, the reason I like this band is because you're never going to see them sell out and do a Pepsi commercial or a Coke commercial or just some lame ass shit. Like they're themselves. They are their own record label. They manage themselves. Another band, Wolfpack does that as well. Like they played Madison Square Garden. They don't have a manager. They book themselves. They rent.
Really?
Yeah.
I've loved what I've heard from Wolfpack. It just hasn't been my thing to get into.
I did a deep dive last year, and I'm just like, they're like on my end of the year Spotify thing. They were neck and neck with Giz because I was listening to so much. Because I did such a deep dive on them. Like And also, like, that band also has a really good like absurdity, you know, to like like sense of humor, and they don't take themselves too seriously. And that's, you know, the huge thing about Giz. Like, Straws in the Wind is such a silly video. You know, I mean, Trapdoor. I mean, the list goes on. All their
Yeah.
videos are pretty funny. They don't take themselves too serious. You know, I mean, even Altered Beast.
Mhm.
It's like, you know, his calves is playing with that big ass fucking that big old branch. Like,
Yeah.
it's just literally absurd. But I like that they
Yeah.
have a sense of humor, and I think that's really important. Like, you know, I think in the '90s, bands took themselves way too seriously. You know,
Yeah, well, I mean, like even Nirvana. I think one reason why Kurt Cobain was such a great songwriter is that like he incorporated a lot of really dark and melancholy humor into the lyrics. Like,
nature is a whore. You know, I mean, come
yeah,
on.
I mean, it's and just like, you know, with the song "Rape Me" about, you know, basically the record industry, and just like, all right, like, fuck you. Here's our final studio album,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be so fucking garage lo-fi, just fuck you production values. It's
Exactly.
yeah,
Steve.
yeah. God, In Utero was a fucking great record, but
Musically and production wise, pretty damn good. Even I think I heard somebody had to fix all Steve Albini shit because he was like wacky and put like 50 mics in the drum room, and like, like it was like he was experimenting.
yeah, yeah,
But
that definitely sounds like it.
Nero,
Um,
yeah, Nero is one of my favorite albums of all time.
yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to think of. I mean, there's so much stuff that I wanted to touch on. Uh,
Yeah, I had notes, but I'm trying to like see what do I have here.
yeah. What else you got? Um,
Talked about that.
so-
Talked about Cookie. Talked about Ugg boots.
the UGG boots. That was a good bit.
Yeah. Like, I honestly, I hope I don't know if it's like occurred to anyone, but I hope that's like the new thing. I want to see all those Ugg boots in Red Rocks and
Well,
Berkeley.
that I mean that is something that I think, you know how like a lot of like punk kids would get Converse and then draw on them, you know, and Sharpie and shit. Like, why not just take some Sharpie to Uggs and like do a whole bunch of like, you know, Giz art on the Uggs. Like,
I
you know,
mean,
you could even turn
I think,
Uggs into like a gator.
I was gonna say, if you could make a gator pattern on the Uggs and sell them in the parking lot, dude, you're gonna sell out.
Well, I mean, like my dream is to get like slippers that are gator slippers. You know how, like, you know, in the 90s kids had like Batman slippers and shit.
Yep.
Like there's like I want that, but with the Giz Gator.
Yep. Agreed.
It,
Like,
I,
the whole, like your whole foot's in there, and it's just like the face.
yeah, exactly.
I'm into it. I bet
Yeah,
you somebody could 3D print those for you, like 3D print some like literally Crocs or Gates.
Yeah, or I guess like you could make, or maybe even just like you could make an enclosure for for like your Nikes that you already have.
Paper mache.
Yeah.
Paper mache dream shoe loon.
I think just paper mache dream shoes. It's
Yeah. Paper mache dream shoes, into it.
yeah. Oh shit. Yeah, that'd be fucking great. It will be fascinating to see like if the Uggs were just a one-off, or if that's gonna like turn into another part of the Gizverse, or like do you think it's possible that like they got like some sort of endorsement deal with Uggs, because like Uggs brand is Australian, and
I mean,
like and they've been out of fashion for a while.
They're definitely out of fashion. I'm saying like they're cheaper now. So I bet you it's a lot more affordable to have them. So I don't know.
Yeah, they probably just got him at DSW. Honestly, it's.
I mean, I think he's just being silly, and I'm fine with it. And if he's on stage with them, all the better.
Yeah, I mean, they've had such a wild variety in stuff that they wear. I mean, like last year, you know, you had the rhythm section in the orange jumpsuits, and
Thing 1, Thing 2.
yeah, well, and then also Lucas would be in one as well.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
I mean, because like the three of them they're like really the rhythm section, you know. And I guess now the two of them, or, you know, third person to be named. But yeah, it's interesting, like all the different outfits that they choose. Like, it's generally like a band T-shirt and stuff, and then Ambrose will wear something that probably found at a thrift store or something. But
or robes. Although I don't know if they played live with robes. It's just the video.
yeah, but it would be interesting if they did start to change up like their, like if they did start to like coordinate their appearance or something. I don't know if that's needed, but I'm always looking for how are they going to change.
Yeah. Well, I know I think when we see them live eventually in Berkeley and Red Rocks, it's going to be amazing. I think visually it's just going to, I think they're going to be like, at that point, everyone's going to be just chomping at the bit to play. I bet, them and to like see them, the energy is going to be really fucking good. And I just hope everything in this country stays all right for a while. Like my whole thing is like, I don't know what to predict in the future right now. I'm just waiting until the election shakes out and the rest of the year and see if this fucking asshole is going to leave the office fucking peacefully or what's going to happen. But,
I mean, it's a long way to January 20th.
Yep. They're saying, it's still like literally a year and a month away. So, or a month away, or a year.
Yeah. So. I mean, it's going to be sloppy. It's going to be mishandled. I'm basically bracing for all the chaos, and I'm hoping that it subsides by June. That's me just trying to be like a pragmatist.
You gotta think about it though. I'm hoping we get that whole year to go up and then down. And hopefully by then everything's calm. Hopefully martial law has been removed. We can start going public again.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like that's all I can hope for, and it's a long time. So hopefully we get more stuff to talk about in between then. I'm sure. We will.
For sure, man. I guess we'll wrap up pretty soon. But is there anything else that you have on your list that we haven't gotten to? That
I think we talked about it. Possibility of Cookie or someone else covering for Eric. Yeah, I mean, we will see. I'm personally just really anticipating the new album. I really want to just hear it all.
Yeah.
I'm really I hate, I kind of hate spoilers, so like, I really wish, I know, I think I waited to listen to the releases off of Fishies, maybe. Because I think I listened to all of Rat's Nest as it came out, but I think I didn't listen to those because I was just like, I just want to hear the album. And it probably didn't make as much sense that time. This is the album that I want to hear all together, I think. Like, I believe there's going to be a nice, a good bit of it connected. If not, maybe it's two halves, maybe it's three parts, But I think it'll be something thematic, it sounds like. It sounds like it's definitely kind of going down one road at this point anyway.
Yeah, I think, and yes, there's definitely something that I wanted to touch on earlier and I forgot. But it's what I like about this album versus, Fishing for Fishies or Infest the Rat's Nest is like this one, they're not talking about, specific real world problems or like specific, a fantasy of like what the problems are going to lead to. Like now they're just talking about like, how does all this shit going on make you feel?
Yeah.
And like, don't you feel like you're just going a little fucking nuts? Like it's which I think is like a very nice reality check that they're giving all their fans.
And that's why I think the vibe and the aesthetic of the last two releases, like all the chaos, yet it's still so good and groovy. Is like it's apropos of the time that we're in right now.
Yeah.
It's definitely, that's what we're all going through. It's just chaotic and like but it's still moving and it's still just kind of like we're just here and we're dealing with all this bullshit and just here we are. And like, yeah, it is a little chaotic and kind of annoying, but it's also kind of, not life is not cool, but the music anyway is, like that's at least soothing it a little bit, It's like,
for sure.
I mean, it's like Radiohead for people is like, a lot of that music is like beautiful sadness for them, It's like, yes, it's sad. It makes you kind of sad, but it's like a happy sad, It's like, this is another feeling aside from that feeling. It's not happy sad. It's just confused. Like, I don't know, like, like apathy, maybe. I don't know. It's just like, like I said, Straws feels like nihilistic, the video. It's just like, well, what are you going to do? Fuck it all. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's, fucking forgot. having like a major stoner moment.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's just been, I don't know. It's going to be a fantastic album. That's that's all I'll
I
fucking
think
recover.
it'll be I think it'll. I predict it'll be my favorite of the last, the last two that came out. I believe. I have a feeling this is gonna be my. This is, like I said, this is classic Giz, a return to form in some ways. It's like definitely just like good shit. Like it's like what I want from them at this point. Like I'm totally fine with experimentation and them going off into left field and doing metal. Trying to do blues, whatever. But I think we all needed this from them. So I mean,
Yeah,
anybody who's not I think anyone who doesn't like it right now is going to change their tune once they hear the whole album. Like that's my prediction.
Yeah, I that's exactly how I'm feeling on this. So I'm glad we're on the same wavelength. But I fully expect this to be one of their best albums. Just I mean, like because Honey was a song that punched me in the gut in like a really good way, because like I just think it's beautiful. And then and Straws in the Wind really made it provided more context for some of us, which then it's tying the whole room together,
That's exactly what I was saying. I was like, because some of us was kind of left a really weird taste in my mouth, but then once we got Straws, like, oh, okay, context, it works. They work as a set for me better, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah. One more tangent. Like one thing that I really like about Giz, I just realized, is that it seems like every single one of their albums, or just like whenever they're doing anything, it's just constant context training. Because like I feel like a lot of people have no fucking clue how to contextualize anything, and so like we've got all like cancel culture is huge and censorship and all that. And plus like all of the fucking propaganda coming from the Ministry of Truth, it's like I mean just fucking think, people, and it's great because like Giz just like all their albums, they make you think, and like they're able to like some of us then make sense once you hear Straws in the Wind. It's
like I said, I want to hear the whole shebang. I can't wait to like just really sit down and like digest it,
Yeah, for sure. Well, dude, thanks for coming on the podcast again. This never gets old for me. So
I love talking, guys. Thanks for talking to me. I wish I felt like I didn't have as much to say as I thought I did, but I think we covered a lot.
Yeah, it's it's bound to happen. I think like across 3 episodes, you've got about 3 hours, 3-ish hours of stuff out there.
An hour and a half of us each talking, so
yeah, pretty good. All right, man.
Take it easy. Take care.
You too.
Bye.